is that the first overall pick in the draft arriving for day 2 of the 2018 NFL Scouting Combine. Sam Darnold is here. He says he will not throw. Josh Allen, he certainly will throw. Perhaps the least well-known nationally of all the quarterbacks strolling into the building with a first-round grade. Lamar Jackson, we have not one but 2 Heisman Trophy winners in the house today. Lamar and Baker Mayfield, and right behind him, Josh Rosen, stars of the Gridiron Saturday, stars of Combine Saturday today.
For all those who reach this stage, it is the overriding goal and motivation to announce their arrival.
I am Josh Rosen.
I am Bradley Chubb.
I am Sam Darnold.
And this is where it begins, where the future becomes the present.
Here we go, eyes up, that's it.
Before they became household names, the biggest stars all started from the same place, this place.
Cam Newton, Auburn University.
J.J. Watt, University of Wisconsin.
Odell Beckham Jr., LSU.
Now, the spotlight shines on the next generation of stars. Today, the biggest names have assembled.
Jackson with a bullet into the end zone.
Golden Arms, franchise cornerstones in the making, fighting for their place atop the draft board.
Mayfield's floats it. Touchdown.
The next stars are here, waiting to be born.
1, 2, 3, baby.
The next big names revealed today.
I am
Sam Darnold.
Josh Allen.
Josh Rosen.
Know my name.
Know my name. My name.
Oh, baby. It's Saturday at Lucas Oil Stadium, and this place is all ready to have some of the biggest names from college football take center stage. Quarterback after quarterback after quarterback who we've enjoyed watching play at the collegiate level, getting set to step foot into a professional football setting here at the 2018 Scouting Combine. And then there's the wide receivers and the tight ends. Rich Eisen, thrilled once again to be alongside you, Mike Mayock. I will give you the floor, as so many talented kids with a wide receiver or a tight end logo on their shirt and quarterbacks get out there today.
You know, there's a whole bunch of quarterbacks that are going to throw the football today. Could get out and spin it. And I want to take a quick second and talk about the one major quarterback that isn't going to throw today, and Sam Darnold. And the word I hear from head coaches and general managers in this whole process, the key word is compete. They want competitors. Now, let me preface this by saying it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect his draft grade whether he throws or not today. However, that kid ought to want to get up before or after Rosen, all the Lamar Jackson, all those guys, and say, I'm just as good or I'm better. Let's go. Let's rip it. Cam Newton came out here and sprayed it around. The coaches and scouts know that if you don't complete a pass here, it doesn't matter. You don't know the wideouts. You ought to want to burr up and compete. And it just bothers me a little bit that he ought to override his trainer or override his agent or override his parents. Whoever's telling him not to throw, you got to say, I'm a competitor and I want to throw.
Well, as you can see, he's preparing to run. He is going to do that. And interestingly enough, Lamar Jackson is going to throw, but he's not going to run. All that said, we will not see Sam Darnold spin it today, and that would be a conversation to be had on draft day. Should he not be number 1 overall? Should any of these kids on the screen overtake him? Who do you think is good enough to perhaps be number 1 overall at the end of the day, if not Sam Darnold?
Well, I think Josh Rosen is the most natural thrower of the group, and maybe go back to Sam Bradford before I see a quarterback that throws it as well as he does, as naturally as he does. Josh Allen's got the biggest arm in this draft, and maybe any arm all the way back to Jamarcus Russell. He's going to be fun to watch today. And then I think Lamar Jackson is kind of the wild card of this group, and I really believe there's a team out there that's going to commit to him philosophically, and he's going to be a first-round quarterback and a starting quarterback and a guy that's going to take us to the next level with running and throwing quarterbacks in the NFL next year.
Okay, and then the wide receiver group will be out there today at last year's Combine. Juju Smith-Schuster and Cooper Kupp emerged from that group to have great rookie seasons.
Both second rounders. Too.
Correct. So how deep is this pool?
It's a different kind of group. I think there's more second and third round talent here, but Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk are similarly sized wideouts, and I think the best route runners in this class. It will be fun to compare and contrast them today. Cortland Sutton leads a big group of receivers that we'll see out there, like Jamon Moore, Alden Tate, those 6'4", 6'5", outside the numbers kind of guys. 50-50, red zone balls up in the air. Be really fun to compare and contrast, and I think the depth of this class is more in the second and third round than elevated in the first.
So Mike Mayock and I, we're sitting right here on the 50-yard line as usual, and out on the concourse, chilling out underneath a large group of fans, by the way, that's sitting right above them on this Combine Saturday. Charles Davis, Daniel Jeremiah, take it away.
All right, thanks a lot, Rich and Mike. And Daniel, you just heard them talk about the quarterbacks. What are you looking for from these top guys?
Well, it's a great group, but there's a couple things I really want to see some improvements made with these guys. And let's start with Josh Allen. To me, over strides, can he shorten his stride today in the workout? Lamar Jackson on the other side, he's too narrow. He needs to widen out his base. That's what I'll be looking for with him. Baker Mayfield, drive accuracy. I know he's got the touch, but can he drive the ball accurately? And then with Rosen, Josh Rosen, the athletic ability, the movement stuff today is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, what I enjoy about all this is the journeys of these guys, right? Think about Josh Allen, no offers out of high school, one offer out of JUCO. Baker Mayfield, 2 times a walk-on, wins a Heisman Trophy. And, of course, Josh Rosen, he's been the golden child all the way through. Let's talk about receivers, okay? What are you looking for today?
Well, I'm not just for selfish reason, but there's a couple DJs I'm keeping an eye on today. DJ Chark, your guy from LSU, had a big-time Senior Bowl, showed off there, big game as well. Can he carry that momentum over today? Can he run fast, which I think he will? And then DJ Moore from Maryland. To me, right now, he's the second best wide receiver in this draft class. I think he could cement that status with a good workout today.
I like your 2 DJs. How about an AM? How about Anthony Miller out of Memphis? And this is a guy who was a former walk-on. Big-time production. I talked to a receivers coach, Rich and Mike, who wants to see him today. Say he's already strong, 18, 19 times on the bench press. He's excited about his progress. You guys take it away.
All right, and there are the fans. How about that, Mike? That looks like thousands of fans here today.
Years ago, did you ever expect it? They barely let us in the building.
Well, it looks like the NFL's done tinkering with the concept of having fans here, and they're all showing up. I mean, these are some big-time names, big-time football programs that are going to be out there today. The 2018 Combine Saturday on the air on NFL Network.
The 2018 NFL Scouting Combine is brought to you by Old Spice. Je ne parle même pas français. Oh la la.
As always, Kim Jones, part of our Combine broadcast team. Good Saturday morning to you, Kim.
Good morning, Rich and Mike. Some quarterback news for you. Sam Darnold, during his warm-up, just told me he will do everything but throw. He will run the 40 today. Lamar Jackson, as we speak, sitting on the bench, over toward the bench, while others get ready to run the 40. Why? Because he told me he will do all the throwing drills, Lamar Jackson will, but none of the other stuff, no 40, no vertical and broad jumps today for Lamar Jackson. Let's talk about 2 quarterbacks we'll see a little bit later on the day. Josh Rosen came into this combine facing the question of how does he relate to teammates. Rosen told the media yesterday that he plays for his teammates and wants everyone to leave this combine knowing how much he loves football. A team that interviewed Rosen told me he made a great impression last night, that he showed some humor, and that later on they had a UCLA teammate in their room who vouched for Rosen, saying he was a good guy and that the player enjoyed playing with him. Then there's Baker Mayfield. He told the media yesterday that he doesn't want to settle for being a backup, that he can turn around Cleveland. Someone told me he is over the top cocky. Rich?
This just in, right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Kim. A great stage set as Austin Allen is the first quarterback to run a 40 at the Combine. The Arkansas Razorback quarterback gets us started on a Saturday.
Yeah, he took a beating in 2016 physically. Sacks, injuries, and there's the number 1 and 4 pick right there with Hugh Jackson on the right, John Dorsey over from Kansas City on the left.
QB1 here at the Combine just ran. Question is, could this be QB1 for those guys when they draft? It's Josh Allen now. On the national stage here at the Combine, the Wyoming Cowboy quarterback. 4.76. And everybody, obviously, Mike, coming in is like, maybe he's Carson Wentz 2.0 here because obviously he hasn't been on a national stage. Every single measurable
is the same.
Carson Wentz ran a 4.77.
I know.
And we just saw him run a 4.76.
He's believe it or not, a better athlete with a bigger arm. So physically, he's more talented. I'm not sure whether the mental side of it is the same because Carson Wentz is in a different stratosphere.
And one of the best that The Ohio State has ever put in a pair of cleats and in a set of pads, J.T. Barrett.
Look, I fell in love with this kid at the East-West game as far as the kid. Now, he's limited as a quarterback, but he's the kind of player that will light up meeting rooms. Coaches and scouts will love him, and I think he'll have an opportunity to be a late draftable guy and a backup in the league for a lot of years.
Coach Bankert of Virginia, 4.97.
Bankert's got a fairly good arm, a lot of interceptions and inaccuracies, and here comes Darnold. I like the fact that this kid was such a good basketball player, Rich, in high school. He played 3 sports. So we talk about competitor, which is how we opened the program. I think he is. I just wish he was throwing today, man.
.486 for Sam Darnold. He'll get a second run. What do you think, man? Well, that's Southern California right there.
I think if he can throw off the back of the boat, he can throw at the combine.
You've never changed, Mike Mayock. Please never change. Danny Etling of LSU.
Danny Etling was a Purdue transfer.
Back here in Indiana.
Yeah. 16-7 as a starter at LSU. He had 4 head coaches in 5 years, so he's been through it scheme-wise.
Luke Falk is deciding not to run today. And now it's Riley Ferguson, Memphis, as we all know. The man who he succeeded was the guy who John Elway traded up to go get.
That's right.
And they're waiting to see if he can stay healthy enough to evaluate him, and by all sense, Riley Ferguson with a 4.99. Paxton Lynch is seemingly about to lose his opportunity in Denver as Josh Rosen waits for his group. Yeah, what's up, bud? He's Quentin Flowers, South Florida.
Now, Flowers is 5'10", 214. They're going to ask him to do some running back and wide receiver drills. So this 40 is more important to him than a lot of the quarterbacks. 4.64. Rich, he changed the program at South Florida. I liked him as a quarterback, but his ability in space is special, which is why I think he'll return punts. They're going to look at him everywhere because they believe in the kid, number 1, and the athlete, number 2.
And Lamar Jackson would have been behind him to run, but he's decided not to. He will be
I think he's making a statement, Flowers. By the way. I think Lamar's saying, I'm not a wideout. I don't care. We all know I'm fast. I want you to watch me throw the football today.
Austin Allen, second run. We'll have a lot to talk about Jackson when we see him throw, and that's probably exactly what he's decided to do. He said he's not doing the Olympic part. He'll do the throwing stuff.
Look, I said it yesterday. He's the most electrifying athlete in this draft. And there's a lot of conversation about him in Indianapolis this week at night.
Here's Allen's second run. 4.76. All right. QB2. Could he be pick number 2 for this guy, Dave Gettleman? We saw Saquon work out yesterday.
He's a hog molly right there, Dave Gettleman now.
We saw Big Q, as Sean O'Hara referred to Quentin Nelson, the guard. It's essentially the choices the Giants have to make there at 2. And here's J.T. Barrett, 4.71
2 times.
One of the most decorated Buckeyes and Big Ten quarterbacks. He beat Drew Brees' record for most passing yards in the history of the Big Ten.
38-6 as a starter.
That wins football games.
He's a natural leader, folks.
Big Ten record, 147 touchdowns in his career. It's Baker running, and again, John Elway. Will they go get Kirk Cousins in free agency? A lot of talk about that. Will he go and draft somebody 5th overall? Will they decide to go in either direction and give Paxton Lynch an opportunity?
Or Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly, that's right.
Which is kind of the ghost in the room that nobody's talking about, who's a highly talented quarterback who went in the 7th round because of off-the-field issues at Ole Miss and injuries.
Sam Darnold. Of course, we send our best to Uncle Jim. Correct. For a second consecutive day. All right, you won't miss any 40s. We'll show you the 3 that you're going to miss during the commercial break. Lots more to come from the first group of quarterbacks. That includes this kid, who may just be the first player taken when this talent evaluation season's all said and done. But we've got a Combine Saturday that's off and running. Okay, wideouts get set to run. This is the group from which we saw John Ross break Chris Johnson's record last year. We'll see if anybody could do it this year. And we start off with Marcell Ateman of Oklahoma State.
Rich, I was stunned on draft night last year when 3 wideouts went 5, 7, and 9.
Why is that?
I had them rated later, and they had little to no production as a group. The 3 top 10 picks at wideout, and most of them had a history of some injury and durability issues. John Ross didn't even catch a pass. He was a 9th overall pick.
That's crazy.
Yeah, your hand went back and you took off.
Talking about Corey Davis.
Corey Davis went 5. Mike Williams went 7.
To Los Angeles. There's Mike McCagnon to the JETS. Choose 6th overall.
Michael needs a quarterback. And whether it's draft or free agency, they got to hit on one. And nobody knows it more than Mike.
Word is out of New York City that they are ready to back up a truck with however much money Kirk Cousins wants and give it to him.
I put myself in Kirk's shoes and I go, I'd rather play for it. And no offense to anybody, but he's made a bunch of money. He's going to make a bunch more. I want to go somewhere where we have a chance to win right away. I don't know, Minnesota, Denver come to mind immediately.
Yep, sure.
If you're looking to win immediately and not just maximize every penny.
My answer is coming soon.
So
new league year starting on March 14th, 4-6-3, as we see Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy.
So Ateman's 4.63. Keep in mind he's a 6'4.5", 216-pound big body wideout. So he's not going to run as fast as some of the smaller guys. And we're going to compare a bunch of these big wide receivers today. Deon Cain, he reminds me a little bit of Kenny Stills, who's had a pretty good career in the NFL, obviously. When I look at Kenny Stills was 194 pounds, Cain's 202, very similar body types, long, lean body types. Stills ran 4.38 and didn't go till the 4th round because of some off-the-field concerns. Deon Cain has some off-the-field concerns. So what he runs at his weight, at 202, his size, this 40 is critical to him.
We showed the Bears their wide receiver needy. Remember they chose
big time.
Remember they chose Kevin White in the draft in Chicago. Bears fans went crazy. He can't stay healthy either.
Injuries again,
right?
Injuries again. There's a history of injuries with the first-round picks over the last several years. It's been awful.
4.46 for Deon Cain. And as we all know, Clemson has sent some big-time wide receivers to the next level of late.
So similar build. 4.38 for Stills. We've got unofficially 4.46 for Cain, and they both have had some off-the-field issues. I mean, Cain missed 3 games because he was suspended twice as a freshman. but he can take the top off of defense. He's got really good hands. He can run. He's instant acceleration, real good run after the catch also. Is this Callaway?
Yes, it is.
Intriguing. Now, he was suspended for all of 2017, felony charges from a credit card scandal. Had trouble before that. He's got a lot of trouble, didn't play in 17, but he's one of the more gifted athletes that have come out of Florida, and that's saying a lot.
Hey, Cal,
saying a lot.
Once you're off,
2 punt return touchdowns, a kickoff return touchdown. He's the only player in Florida history to score a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, a punt return, a kick return, and threw for a touchdown. And I'm telling you, he's got speed and quickness. This is a huge combine for him because he didn't play last year. I was surprised and disappointed he chose not to lift. He didn't do a bench press. Why am I disappointed about a wideout not doing that? Because you missed the last year. You need to come here and show out big time, meaning do everything and show people you're ready to go. Good time.
Moses Malone.
Fo.
That's the best time we've seen yet today.
He's an athlete, man, quick and fast, with return skills. A lot of teams are looking at him trying to figure out what kind of kid is he really? Where are we with him as a kid off the field?
In control of Texas Tech.
Big body kid, 6'3", 226. Most of his throws are outside the numbers. He's got very strong hands and good body control. I don't think he's going to run great. Yeah, I've got 4.6 in my notes, 4.59.
He's one of the aforementioned DJs that Daniel Jeremiah and Charles Davis were talking about at the top of our broadcast today. DJ Chark of LSU.
You know, Charles was all over him justifiably at the Senior Bowl. I think I'm a little low on him. I didn't think during the season, if you watch the Alabama tape, for instance, I didn't think he finished properly. He had a couple balls he could have completed the catch on and was not able to finish. But at the Senior Bowl, he created separation off press coverage, and he was able to finish.
A little longer,
Charles?
DJ.
Hey, Mike,
Okay,
I'm with you totally on that.
so
In watching what you were talking about in the Alabama game and some other games, I think DJ saw a lot of the same things. But I stand by what we said in Mobile and what I was talking about. These LSU receivers, they've had inconsistent, is the best way I can say it, quarterbacking over the last 10 years. And these guys tend to ascend when they get to the NFL level. I think DJ Chark is ready to make that jump.
That's a good point, Charles. I think he's got an extra gear when the ball's in the air also, which is rare. And I think love to see him run a great time here. And he was a high school track guy, so it should be a good number.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, it is.
4.34. Boy.
He was a long jumper and a 100-meter guy in high school, so you'd expect him. And he ran a lot of verticals at LSU.
Well, if he keeps that up the rest of the day, you know what we could call this?
What are we going to call it?
Chark Week. On NFL Network.
Okay. Who's up now?
All right.
Is this Simi Cobbs or? Yes. Another big body guy.
Simi Cobbs Jr.
All Big Ten player.
Indiana.
Yeah.
Running here in Indianapolis, 4.68.
You notice the trend with the bigger bodies, Rich. They're in the 4.6 plus range, and they're all running a limited route tree. Outside the numbers, takeoffs, back shoulder stuff, occasional slants. No real route tree. And they don't create separation, so they've got to use their big bodies to create the separation.
One of the best names in this combine, Kiki QT.
He can run.
Of TT, Texas Tech.
Space player. I mean, he had 93 catches at Texas Tech this year. They use them in a variety of ways, especially out of the slot, bubbles, crosses, screens, fast and quick.
4.44. Robert Foster now coming up from Alabama.
It's heating up a little bit, Rich, huh?
It is now, yes, sir.
We're seeing a clear distinction between the big body guys that are plus or minus 4.6 and the smaller guys, both outside receivers and slots, that are running between 4.4 and 4.5, with the exception of Chark, who ran sub 4.4. Now, Foster only had 35 career receptions at Alabama. He was highly recruited in high school out of the state of Pennsylvania. He's a height, weight, speed guy with not a whole lot of college production.
4.45.
Yep.
6'2". All right, there's Josh Allen of Wyoming in a combine drill here in Indianapolis. Mike Mayock, Rich Eisen on the 50-yard line. Daniel Jeremiah, Charles Davis in the concourse. Steve Smith, future Hall of Famer. Michael Irvin, current Hall of Famer, on the field. Irv, you out there?
Yeah, it's great being out here with the guys. You know, and I was just talking with David and Steve here about this drill that they're doing now. And this is a great drill because we see the guy's ability to monitor his feet as he gets to the sideline. But all in truth, folks that are out here watching this, in the NFL, you really don't want to run this far back down the stem. By the time my second foot hit the ground, bam, bam, I want that ball in my hand right now, because the recovery speed of these DBs in the league are so great, you'll rarely get to see that long of a stem, but it's great for sideline notice.
I agree with you, Mike, and this is the back end of a comeback route.
Right.
So you're coming back. Right. The only part where I was talking to DC, right, is come on, quarterbacks.
Give me the ball right now.
Yes, because I have to catch the ball, get my feet down, especially from these young college kids. They have to get 2 feet down. So, you know, getting used to that. But some of these quarterbacks, you got to be on time. Don't be late. Because when you late, now you're dipping into my pocket. Right? So I go from a second-round pick because you're throwing me these late passes to a third-round pick.
Right. And this is an anticipatory throw. You got to throw this ball when I'm coming out of the break. By the time my second foot hit that rotation, I want the ball in my hand right now. And that's what we talk about timing. Comebacks, when you hit when that quarterback hit that back foot, I want him to let that ball go right now. Now here we need it because we want to see foot placement coming towards the sideline.
Exactly. Hey, guys, I mean, typical wide receiver prima donnas. You want the ball early. You don't want the defensive back to hit you. You want plenty of room. You want plenty of room to turn up the field.
Mike,
I get you, and you're saying all the right things in a game, but this is a drill to evaluate a toe tap. That's simple.
But here's the thing. If you're going to pay a quarterback $20 million, you need to be on time. You can't be a 5-star restaurant.
We're not evaluating quarterbacks in this drill. This is purely a wide receiver drill. This is only a wide out drill.
5-star restaurant, you just can't make a grilled cheese. Okay?
And Mike, I bring up the point because there is such a thing as people that get watching receivers as they turn, spot that ball, and grab it out of the air, because that timing is going to be very important once they get in the league. But I did make the point early on, Mike. This is about toe tapping, buddy.
It's all about toe tapping. That's all.
But we got to bring the people in and teach them all of the game, right? That's what we're doing here. Sharing all of the game.
Well, let's show why that drill matters while we're on the subject of the drill. Mike Mayock.
So we just saw the toe tap, and, you know, it really, what happens is the ball's on top of you. Watch A.J. Green back when he did this drill.
Oh.
Just sweet hands. How easy does that look, guys, right?
That is great right there. You see him place that first
foot. And now, wait, watch him here against off coverage. Takes it back in, and you talk about how tight that corner is, Steve Smith. Look at the hands. But watch the tap. Is that gorgeous, guys, or what?
And you know what? It was an on-time throw. Without an on-time throw, it does not happen.
Christian Kirk right here, left foot, and here comes the drag. He actually had plenty of time to get them both down compared to what we saw with the Bengals tape.
Yes.
Man, I had some great conversations with his father last night, talking about how excited he is to be here. Christian Kirk.
All right, man, let's go get it. Have some fun. Let's go, boys.
Okay, now the next drill here. Of course, though, we will be evaluating the quarterback. Lamar Jackson was throwing in that one, so he's out there throwing for the first time today. Did not run. Darnold ran. He's not out there throwing.
All I'm telling you is that Lamar Jackson is the most spectacular athlete in this draft, and I can't wait to watch him throw the football, because there's some people that think, and I think, that he can be the future of the NFL.
I'd say it a lot, and we'll dig into that more. Certainly saying he's the best athlete in the combine after what we saw from Saquon Barkley yesterday, saying quite a bit too.
Yeah, I hear you. I know you're going to hold me to that, but you're so in love with Saquon Barkley, it's like unbelievable. It's a rush. You couldn't wait to get through the lineman yesterday. You were so excited about Saquon.
Yeah, and for good reason. And New York's going to love him.
Jets or Giants?
Oh, see, I'm not.
He's not getting past
Somebody just threw a duck pheasant.
Yeah.
Lamar just threw a wounded duck.
Yep.
But Callaway, really great adjustment by Callaway on the other end, man.
They put it, yeah, they're purposely putting the quarterback almost right behind to make a tough angle to catch the football. It's coming in over top. There's a good throw.
This is also very tough for a wide receiver because it's over the shoulder. So a lot of guys will look early, which slow them down. So you have to look up to keep running to adjust to the ball and allowing you to catch the ball away from your body and use your hands. It's going to be key for some of these guys who only catch the ball with their body.
It's a nice ball there.
I'd still like to see it further out in front of him.
Okay.
When you slow down, it makes it a lot easier for the wide out.
Edling to QT.
There's a bad adjustment right there.
Finish. There you
go. Foster. Foster being thrown to right there by Luke Falk, making his first appearance. He did not run. Washington State quarterback.
Again, not a quarterback drill, but it really enhances the drill when they make the wide receiver look over a shoulder and accelerate through the ball.
Ferguson to Gallup, and now Flowers to Grayson. Lamar Jackson will be up next.
That's why when in this drill, I like these first 15 yards hard as you can run, and then almost after that, you're looking up and really gliding.
There's Deshaun Hamilton from Jackson. Neither of those guys ran, but both of them, as you can see, are doing drills.
That was a great throw by Jackson the second time around. So his first one is all these guys are a little nervous. You can see it, but they're starting to get the flow now.
They come back and say it, Steve. After you gave that man a pheasant on his first throw.
J.T. Barrett to Christian Kirk. Ohio State to Texas A&M. Irv's having a good time down there.
Irv always has a good time. He's got to finish that catch, man.
You hear the coaches admonishing him to finish.
And guys, that's why I'm telling you too. Like, okay, you see that was even better. Like, okay, when you take off those first 15 yards, then you don't have to worry about slowing down on an adjust. It's an easy adjustment in tracking the ball after you start looking up. If that first 15 is real fast, like that right there, because then you glide right up under the ball and just keep running.
Luke Falk with the throw there.
T.J. Martin.
That was a great hands catch. He adjusted the ball well, didn't look too early, didn't slow down, and caught it and finished. That's what you want.
That was a great grab.
That's a great hands catch right there.
Yep, fourth throw, great catch.
I can't tell you how hard that catch is right there. To be running that fast, Mike, turn around and catch that ball, that's an incredible grab.
Lamar Jackson throwing that to Aikman.
Dropping it in right in the bucket.
You're ready for him to check boxes, aren't you?
Who?
Lamar.
I'm just excited as a fan. I mean, I'm excited to watch Lamar Jackson today. I really am.
Sort of like me with Saquon Barkley yesterday.
And as an evaluator, I'm even more excited. Henderson. Come on, man. You're a punt returner. Catch that.
Gauntlet getting coached up.
35, everybody.
All right, here comes the gauntlet. You heard that. Before we get to the drill where I ultimately wonder why it matters, let's stay on that drill that we just saw finished and why it matters. Mike Mayock?
Again, tracking the football. Amari Cooper, former first-round pick. Exactly what Irv's talking about. Full speed, and then just an easy adjustment. And you can tell when a guy doesn't even think about catching a football. Just so natural. He's like, you know, I've been doing this since I was 8. Why does this matter? Wide open, over the shoulder, easy. Again, there's a good look at it from behind. And then moments ago, TJ Martin, who ran a poor 40, look at the adjustment. The hands come up late as they should. Well
nice.
done, man.
Looked it right in there.
Well
done. And remember yesterday you're like, well, Dave Gettleman, he can't listen to what the fan base is saying in New York. Super Quan, your back page of the New York Post.
So now the New York Post is drafting Giants? Is that what you're telling me?
I'm just saying it's just a part of the puzzle, Mike, as you like to say. All right. So, yes, Baker Mayfield, Heisman Trophy winner, coming up shortly. Sing the Mason Rudolph. Josh Allen out there now. That's Luke Falk of Washington State. This group has its own Heisman Trophy winner in Lamar Jackson. Sam Darnold not throwing, QB5. Standing around, as you can see in the foreground, cheering his fellow quarterback classmates on as they go through the drill here. J.T. Barrett, the only 3-time captain in the history of Ohio State football. One of the best the Big Ten has ever churned out. He's in this group as well. Quentin Flowers of South Florida ripping it with Lamar Jackson right behind him. Mike Mayock, you were just talking in the commercial break of something interesting because it's a copycat league, and every year something happens, obviously, in a Super Bowl where scouts and evaluators take notice, and it might actually affect things in the upcoming evaluation season. You have the floor on that, sir.
Well, you know, we talk about the, quote, franchise quarterback, and we talk about all the time there aren't 32 of them. You know, there's maybe 8, 10, 12 of them, whatever that number is.
Not even half the league enough, right?
So what general managers and coaches are talking about right now around the league, because I've had this conversation with them, is, okay, all of a sudden the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles at quarterback. The Minnesota Vikings almost got to a Super Bowl with Case Keenum at quarterback. Jacksonville Jaguars almost got to the Super Bowl with a revitalized Blake Bortles. However you want to look at that. He cut down on his turnovers. He did a bunch of things better this year. And guys are going, okay, well, if there aren't 32 franchise guys, maybe we need to look at this a little bit differently. And how does that affect this draft class? Of course you want a franchise quarterback. But what about the Luke Falks and quarterbacks of that ilk? Mason Rudolph, Kyle Lauletta. Can those guys be groomed as 2nd or 3rd round picks like a Kirk Cousins, who was a 4th round pick, and then you build around them with the additional money you have? It doesn't necessarily have to be a, quote, franchise guy. And there are a lot of GMs and head coaches talking about that right now, and I think it also affects the teams that have secondary quarterback needs. You talked about the Patriots earlier at number 31, and who's their backup quarterback? What's their plan? Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees. We've got 4 or 5 teams with secondary quarterback needs because their quarterbacks are getting older.
So off of that, I've got a couple of questions for you. Would you then, if you have a quarterback need in the primary list, right? How many primary teams do you have?
I've got 7 teams with a primary need right
Meaning
now.
Right now. Get one right now. Got to get one right now, either in the draft or the upcoming free agency period.
Correct.
Would you, if you're one of those, flip Howie Roseman a 3 or 2 for Nick Foles?
I think every team in the league that doesn't have a starting quarterback ought to be looking into all their options, from Kirk Cousins to the 3 quarterbacks that are free agents in Minnesota to Nick Foles.
Would you flip a 2 or a 3 to Howie Roseman for Nick Foles?
Do you think Howie would take it?
You don't?
Howie's got another year of Nick Foles, and if I'm Doug Peterson, I'm saying, wait a minute, we're making another run next year. Don't take away my backup.
And Wentz may not be ready for week 1.
So it's a great conversation, because Howie may or may not. Howie's job is to look at the long-term future, and he might flip somebody. But Doug Peterson's in the building. Oh, wait a minute, don't trade my backup.
Because the reason why I bring that up is you say that there's a lot of evaluators that are saying, hey, maybe the way to do this is to develop somebody of Nick Foles' ability, character, which is obviously
and play what he does well, which were the RPOs and all that.
Would you, if you were somebody looking for a starting quarterback in 2018, say that, okay, he's now graduated to be the guy, 16 games a season, year in, year out, and let's go try and win him his second Super Bowl.
Yeah, I'd look into that.
There you go. Okay, that's all.
I'd look into Case Keenum. I'd look, I'd be looking into all that.
Keenum, when it all came down to it, did not do it full. Well, how about this? Obviously, Foles, right. Obviously, Foles didn't have to do it.
Sample size.
Right. Okay. So the next one for you. Hold on one second, T-Man. My producer's getting my ear. My other one is, would you consider, where are the Giants on that?
I've got primary and secondary needs, and I've got the Giants as a primary need because I think Eli's probably closer to retirement than some of the other guys I mentioned.
Some of the other guys you mentioned were drafted in the same class as him.
Yeah, but there's some of them have more mileage on them than others.
You locate that cone, you run right at that cone. Once you locate it, now get ready, get your eyes back to the quarterback and locate that ball.
Let's take a look at the, speaking of the aforementioned Carson Wentz, he's the 5-step curl, I guess, poster quarterback here.
Yeah, back to combine, 5-step, boom, running a curl. Ball out, good footwork. You can see how solid the footwork is, and he was an under center at college, you could tell, a very advanced quarterback. Here's 5-step, curl route. Alshon Jeffrey, got to come back to the football a little bit, Alshon, but exactly what you're looking for. Step, ball out, nice throw. Josh Allen, boom, plant, hitch, beautiful throw. Very similar, same size, same body type. This is a big, strong quarterback that can push the ball down the field.
Same 40-yard dash time.
I'm going to tell you another thing. If you're John Dorsey with Cleveland at 1-4, that guy on the left of your screen, Josh Allen, you got to look at him. He can play indoors, outdoors, all 32 stadiums, cold weather, warm weather, big hands, big arm. Look at the comparison. He's got a bigger arm than Wentz. He's a better athlete than Wentz. I don't know if he brings the intangibles to the table that Wentz does, the leadership and the football IQ, but that's what the decision makers have to find out in the next 2 months.
Well, that was supposedly, as Carson Wentz is out there watching right now, from the combine and now buddies and teammates, Nate Sudfeld and I have come a long ways already. So Nate Sudfeld was in that same quarterback's class. He is third string on that list right now, the Indiana quarterback. So, because the word is that Hugh Jackson had the same feeling about Wentz as you did after meeting him and looking him in the eye and having a conversation about football and seeing what burned inside and obviously who he was. Have you had that inkling about Josh Allen? Have you met him? Have you evaluated him from that point of view yet, Mike?
We interviewed him at the Senior Bowl, but besides that, I haven't had a chance to spend the amount of time yet with him as I did with Wentz. And the reason I banged the table so hard for Carson Wentz 2 years ago was I knew what he was on tape. But the kid impressed me so much that when I walked away from his pro day in Fargo, North Dakota, I went, my talk with him, both on and off camera, was just like if I'm talking to Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees. It's the same. You don't get that feeling very often, but I got it with Carson Wentz. And that's what you want with if you're taking the number 1 or number 2 pick in the draft for the future of your franchise.
Lamar Jackson out there throwing at the combine. What have you been able to evaluate so far from watching him today, Mike?
Just skittish and erratic. And I don't think this is the forum for him. I think what he is think of a playground hoop game. Pick up hoops. I mean, you know how winners keep the court? You got 27 guys waiting to get the court in a pickup hoop game, and winners stay. I want Lamar Jackson on my team because when the game matters, he's at his best. And he's going to beat you with his legs. He's going to beat you with his arm. Does he have to get a lot more consistent to be an NFL quarterback? Absolutely. But can he beat you with his legs immediately? Yes. And a team's going to commit, I think, to that philosophy.
What do you think of his decision to not hire an agent and do this himself with his mom's help?
I don't know enough about that, Rich. I mean, I think an agent's a good thing to have because even though there's a slot in the NFL draft and there's not a whole lot of wiggle room, at the end of the day, you really want somebody that's advocating for you in the building.
All right, here's Josh Allen.
And this is a post corner route. where the receiver is stemming to the inside, trying to get the defensive back to turn and run inside, and then he's breaking it off sharply back to the outside. It's a timing throw for the quarterback. The ball would be out of his hands, and Josh is waiting because Josh has, he's got the biggest arm in the universe. He can afford to wait, but
he throws this thing like he throws a comeback. It's 50 yards down the field. It's crazy.
Isn't it crazy? He's just waiting.
It is.
He just waits. He waits longer than everybody else because he can.
And then he still gets in bounds. A lot of these guys, if you watch the footwork, like they take 7 steps and they're kind of double hitching, and a lot of them are caught out of bounds. He just did the same thing, and the guy had 5 yards to spare. So, yeah, it's another level of arm strength.
One last question on him is how did he wind up at Wyoming? You know the answer to that question?
He was 6'3", 180 pounds coming out of high school, and he had no offers. 0. Went to a junior college and had very little interest at that point. He was getting bigger and stronger. I forget the name of the junior college, but he went to the junior college, Reedley or something like that. And he had, I believe, 2 offers coming out of there and went to Wyoming, and it took him a little while to develop. And 4 years later, after high school, he's now 6'5", 237, and everybody's going, wow.
Yeah, Reedley Community College. Junior college there, and he's from Firebaugh, California. Well, Aaron Rodgers went to JC.
Oh, yeah, nobody's taking it. Yeah, some people, kids in general, just develop at different times.
It might be too late now. I'm fine.
Kim Jones, take it away.
Hey, Rich, back to your conversation about Lamar Jackson. I asked the GM about him, and he said simply, all I know is every time I watched him live, he was the best player on the field.
Look, I put the Boston College tape on. In the first 3 or 4 throws, I was like, man, that's bad. Then he get back on the field again and makes another kind of throw, and you're like, huh. And then he goes 81 for a touchdown. And then they come back out, and, okay, good throw, bad throw. Then he goes 56 for a touchdown. And then he makes a throw, fitting it into a window where you go, how did he fit that throw in? Speaking of throws, good throw, Kurt Banker. But what Kim says and what she just quoted from a decision maker is true. That's what I meant by the playground basketball analogy, which maybe was a dumb analogy, but if you ever played and you wanted to stay on the court and win and play all day, I think you want Lamar on your side. He's probably going to help you win.
I think the other thing, Mike, is talking about what they're asked to do right now, and I don't think Lamar is going to be asked to do a whole lot of what they're showing here, other than the throws that he's going to have to make. We talked about going into the Super Bowl with Nick Foles and the RPOs and the way the game is going. I think that's going to be, when you go to his pro day and you see him, he'll be under center and he'll do his work there. But I think where he's going to live, if someone decides to take a chance on him and kind of build their offense around him, he's going to be in the shotgun. He's going to be putting some pressure on the defense from a passing game standpoint, yes, but then that athleticism, you have to use that. This is more of a traditional, a lot of 7-step drops. I don't know that he'll ever take a 7-step drop.
Hey, David,
in his system if he plays in the NFL.
I think a great way to look at it is Houston a year ago with Bill O'Brien.
Exactly.
And Deshaun Watson, okay?
Yep.
So they've got Tom Savage as their starting quarterback, and they make a decision during the season, 5-6 weeks in, whatever it was, we're going to go with Deshaun Watson. They changed their whole offense at that point in less than a week.
I thought it was a fantastic coaching job by Bill.
Exactly.
He did an unbelievable job transitioning that entire offense to fit, and then they started throwing up 50 points a game, and it was incredible.
And by the way, they made him comfortable. They said, what do you do well? We're going to cut the field in half. We're going to let you go naked boot. We're going to let you run a little bit. But just the threat of the run changed everything teams did schematically, defensively against them, and then it buys him time to learn more and more of the pass system.
Yep, and then it improved their run game. Their run game instantly got better. So it was. I thought Bill did a fantastic. His entire staff was great.
That's what has to happen for Lamar. I'm sorry.
Exactly. No. Right. My point is they could have done it in training camp. They could have done it from Jump Street. And then, as the next group of quarterbacks goes out there, I'm wondering if we will ever see an RPO-type drill instituted in the combine.
I'd love to see it. I think that'd be good.
Hey, that's the way the game's going. We might as well start seeing it at a combine.
Yep.
But I don't know how this thing's changed very much since we've been covering it. So
they still do the Doug Flutie drop back. They still go back pedal 7 steps.
So the quarterbacks and wideout group getting their last instructions.
Hey, when you go to your pro day, relax, guys. Just be yourself, right? Go home, be yourself, get ready, prepare. But listen, getting to the next level, you can take care of everything mentally when you get there, but you better be physically ready when you do get there. You understand me? Because if you have to get ready physically and mentally during OTAs and training camp, you're going to be behind. All right, you're not going to give yourself the best chance to succeed. Okay? When you get there, make sure you're ready physically. All right? You're going to have to be different than everybody you hang out with too. All right? Everybody you go home with, and your friends at home, and all the family members, and all your boys back home, they're not coming with you to camp. So you got to be different. You know what I'm saying? You got to make your priorities right. And when you're done and you get there, it'll be worth it. All right? It'll be worth it. Really? Okay? Here we go. Be real.
Bears' new receiver coach Mike Furrey giving words of wisdom to the wide receiver and quarterback group that was first through the 40s and on-field drills. Josh Rosen, Baker Mayfield, and more when we come back. And then there's still tight ends to come. Very busy Combine Saturday in Indy.
Welcome back to the 2018 Scouting Combine here on NFL Network. I'm Kim Jones. Let's put a wrap on the morning session where we saw the first group of quarterbacks. We saw Sam Darnold mostly holding a football. He didn't throw, which was his intention. He's doing other drills here. But I caught up with Sam after the event, or after the session, and he told me it was a little weird. He said the competitor in me wanted to throw, but it was awesome to see the guys do well. I said, why didn't you throw? He said that was a question I got in every single interview I did. Sam Darnold telling me it was the best decision for me not to throw here. He says he'll do everything at his pro day, March 21st. Well, one of the guys that Darnold interacted a lot with was Josh Allen, who had a day. He had a throw. I said to Josh Allen, that was either 60 or 70 yards. He said something like that. I said, I'm going with 70. There it is there. It was down this sideline. When that ball landed precisely in the receiver's hands, there was a buzz in this building. To put that in context, these are football guys. There is rarely a buzz that's audible in this building during this event. Josh Allen said he noticed. He said it was crazy. He also believes that his work coming into this event has helped him. He said a lot of work on his footwork, getting his stride length down and kind of toning down his mechanics. He believes it's helped. My guess is that decision makers here would agree, because for a guy who completed 56% of his passes in college, he had a terrific morning. Now, what do we expect this afternoon? Well, Josh Rosen and Baker Mayfield both told me earlier they will do every single drill here. We very much look forward to seeing the two of them on the field, as we've had a lot of conversation about them off the field. And we also, very special event, Shaquem Griffin, the bench press. He is the terrific linebacker who, in his words, is against all odds here at the Combine. He will do the bench press this afternoon. We will take you there live for it. None of us can wait for that. We will be back here on NFL Network as the 2018 Scouting Combine rolls along.
All right, Mike. The first group of quarterbacks have done their on-field drills. The second group about to start. There's Baker Mayfield, your defending Heisman Trophy winner.
Okay, you have to be
Oklahoma,
in a three-point
right there,
stance.
standing next to Josh Rosen.
Come on, you're going to be my demo guy. You're
going to be back-to-back all day, running and throwing. How about them apples? So, okay, Rich Eisen and Mike Mayock right here. What'd you think of what we just saw out of the first group?
A little bit as advertised. I mean, Lamar Jackson was a little bit skittish, but you can see the whippy arm, the athletic ability. And Josh Allen, you know, we told everybody he's got the biggest arms in recent history, and he does. And I enjoy watching this, because anytime you get to see a quarterback throw live, it's a bonus. You watch all this tape, but you got to see it live. And he's just easy heat. Ball comes out so easily for him. He can throw it 70 or 80 yards without even trying. To his left, he unlocks the hip. For me, he waits a little bit too, like that was way too long. And you can see it on tape. He wants to see it come open. And in the NFL, he's going to have to learn how to anticipate. But the arm strength is there. The footwork is getting better. More consistent, I should say, with the footwork. Maybe not necessarily better, but more consistent with his feet. And when he wants to do that,
wow,
he can do that.
Brought down rain.
Yeah, very rare.
Get everybody watching him too on the left.
Oh, jeez. Well, they, you know, talent knows talent, and they all understand what he brings to the table. Christian Kirk at wideout. You're talking about plus or minus 200 pounds. Really good route runner, tough kid. Ran 4.43. Here he is on the comeback drills. He catches the ball well. He's added value in the return game. He's a natural catcher of the football. Everybody I've talked to that's been around this kid loves him as a kid, as a work ethic person. Football is important to him. So I think if you draft Christian Kirk, you're getting a tough kid that's a slot receiver it's going to help you in the return game. You know, I'm thinking Greg Jennings out of Western Michigan, who was just a shade under 6 feet, about 197, really good route runners, hands, and tough. Love the fact that they're tough.
There he is. On the sideline, the visiting sideline where the vertical jump and the broad jump are located. Getting ready, it seems he's directly under the vertex right now. There we go. We're wondering if he was jumped yet.
Okay, run your second.
That's the answer.
Y'all want you
So
guys
Mark
to go change
Gorsuch,
your
the
shoes for
Steelers
field
scout.
Kurt.
Okay. What do we
Vertex
get?
Live, let's listen in.
You get two bites at this apple. The scouts are good because they set it up and they tell you, okay, try and get 2 more of the tabs and that'll be another inch for you. You know, give you a target. Go get the red one.
Go get it. Yeah.
10-6.
35 and a half.
35 and a half. Really solid. Really, really solid.
Okay, so while that just went down, it's time for the second group of quarterbacks to run 40-yard dashes. It is Group 5 for those scoring at home. We got a Richmond Spider up first, Kyle Lauletta.
From Downingtown East High School. Coached by Mike Matt, has had a great career there at Downingtown East. This guy, Rich, you know, when people start talking about primary and secondary quarterbacks, he put himself on the map with his Senior Bowl performance. Had a solid week all week long, and then he came out in the game and just ripped it. Played really well. He's 6'2.5", about 217. People want to kind of compare him to Kirk Cousins a little bit when Cousins came out. I think he's an interesting quarterback, and I think the other guy in this group that I'm interested to compare to Lauletta today is Logan Woodside from Toledo.
8 of 12 for a $198 and 3 touchdowns in the Senior Bowl. We'll get you that time in a second. The timing was clearly off a little bit there.
Yep. 64% career thrower at Richmond. 24-12 as a starter, and he's a timing anticipation guy that's a good athlete.
4.85 is our hand time. Now it's Tanner Lee. Tanner Lee at 6'4" for Nebraska. And we're on Charlie Casserly Emmanuel hand time right now. Tanner Lee, 4.99, the only other quarterback with a hand to hit double digits. He's got 10-inch hands. The only other one to have had 10 inches is Josh Allen.
Right. And you know, people wonder if that's overrated, and I think it really isn't. You want to have an idea of what can their ball security in the pocket be when they get hit. Can you pump fake? You know, Ben Roethlisberger in the pocket.
Chase Litt. Marshall Thundering Herd.
Big guy. I was surprised he came out this year. I felt like with another year at Marshall, he might come out and have an opportunity to be more of a high-level guy.
4.87. All right, now it's time for Baker Mayfield to run a 40-yard dash at the Combine.
Polarizing guy, Rich. You know, opinions run really one way or the other with him.
Walk me through him. Well, I mean, the next guy too, right? But for different reasons. Mayfield and Rosen here?
Yeah, I mean, this is
4.81 for Baker Mayfield.
And that's about right. Plus or minus 4.8. I have 4.75. I thought he might get 4.75. Competitive son of a gun. People love his competition. Some teams don't like some of the emotional immaturity that he showed throughout the season. Here's Rosen, a little different kind of athlete. Great tennis player growing up. The downside to Rosen, he's the best thrower in the draft, natural thrower. The downside to Rosen are the history of injuries, a shoulder in 16, 2 concussions in 17, and when you combine that with an inability to escape pressure in the pocket, it worries me about Rosen's ability to stay healthy in the NFL.
First and 4th overall picks in the draft. The Browns own both. Mason Rudolph of Oklahoma State.
Another really solid quarterback. Some people think could be a late first-round pick. Certainly will go in the 2nd round. Big, strong kid. Good arm, not a great arm. I think he might be the most accurate deep ball thrower in the draft.
Everybody seems to be running 4.85 right now. Is Charlie stopwatch stuck or what?
What is that? What Rosen ran?
Yeah.
Hey, my clock's right on. Okay. Hey, let's talk about that. Hey.
Nick Shimonek, Texas Tech. All right. 4.86.
Yep. Charlie Casserly, a lot of years as a high-level, very successful general manager in the league. I was in the van coming over to the stadium with him this morning about 7 o'clock. Look at him. Look at him.
Look at the form. Left arm, getting the right elbow working, and then now, right there. What's he got there?
Hey,
over there.
What do you have over there, huh?
Mike White of Western.
I had him 4.85. What'd you have?
Kentucky, the Hilltopper, went 5.08.
I asked Charlie this morning in the van. I'm like, what do you think? Whose watch do you trust? The electronic, the team? He's like, I only trust mine. It's the only one that matters to me.
Logan Woodside.
I'm interested in this young man. He's got a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. Wasn't recruited heavily coming out of high school. Got better and better. I mean, he lost his job in 2015 to an Alabama transfer named Philip Eli. But the last 2 years, he was all MAC in 16, the MAC Offensive Player of the Year in 17. I think he's a good athlete. He's a highly accurate quarterback, and I think he understands the game of football.
We got some action here. It's the tune of 4.72.
And if you want to see a good tape of him, watch him against Miami. Okay, it was a fun team. Went 28 for 48 for 342. He kept them in the game.
Of Ohio, right? Miami?
I'm talking about, no, the U.
The U.
Against University of Miami. He kept them in the game the whole way. They were winning, I think, 16-10 at half. I mean, this kid kept them in the game against a much better team.
Pauletta. So when you say Mayfield is polarizing, you're talking about that Kansas game where he got triggered by people who refused to shake his hand before the game, and then and his action on the sidelines, or is it any of the off the field stuff that had happened with Mayfield a couple of summers ago or a couple of years ago?
I think it's the compilation of all of that. As a high-level quarterback in the face of a franchise, you want a guy that's been clean off the field. You want the hardest worker in the building. You want a guy that portrays who you are as a franchise, a certain image. There are some teams that look at him and say, hey, he's fine, man. He's just competitive, and he'll grow out of that. It's just a little bit of emotional insecurity, immaturity, whatever word you want to use. There are other teams that say, that's not my cup of tea. That's not my quarterback. That's not who we are. So he's going to appeal to some teams and not appeal to others. And I would tell you from my tape watching of Baker Mayfield, that after about 4 hours and 3 or 4 tapes, the first time I put some tape in, probably back in December on him, I went, wow, he's better than I thought. He's got a bigger arm than I thought. He extends plays to win with his arm, not his leg. He's very accurate, almost 70%. So you have to take him seriously as a potential first-round quarterback. But I would say with all these kids, you want to get to know the kid more than any other position. You want to know who your quarterback is as a person.
What about top of the draft?
Chase,
I mean,
the arm went back,
let's say, let's
the
just
arm goes
play
up,
this whole thing out real
goes
quick
up,
here.
hold it for 3. Okay,
Kirk
man,
Cousins goes to
play,
Minnesota,
baby.
as people think potentially, right?
Well, I'm sorry, say it again.
As Doug Williams is hydrating. Kirk Cousins, let's say he goes to Minnesota. The reason why I throw that out there, it's because
they're late.
Well, because they're not at the top of the draft.
Right.
So let's say Cleveland, Denver choose quarterbacks. let's say even the Giants do. Let's just go there. Then Mayfield is sitting there. Jets at 6. He's sitting there. Top of the draft. What do you think?
I'm just telling you that if you believe he's a franchise quarterback, it doesn't matter whether it's...
Do you believe he's a franchise quarterback?
Let me just finish the thought process. It doesn't matter whether you're drafting at 6 or 30. If he's on your board and you believe he's a franchise quarterback for the next 10 years, you have to take him. So the Bears last year traded up from 3 to 2 to get Trubisky.
Right.
Philosophically, I agreed with what they did because they went and got their guy. They believed in Trubisky at that level. It's the same thing with this kid Mayfield here. If you believe in him, if you think he's your quarterback for the next 10 years, it doesn't matter whether it's 6 or 30.
The Heisman, Maxwell, Davey O'Brien, Walter Camp Player of the Year awards. #1 in completion percentage in FBS this season. Heisman Trophy winner 4.88.
Now, I've seen him run the football, both planned and unplanned, and he's a better athlete than you might say 4.88 or 4.81 represents. He's a really good athlete. He's quick. He can make people miss, and he's combative as heck. I mean, he is really a competitor.
Here's Josh Rosen. Played for 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 seasons at UCLA.
That's all right. You got it, man. Next play. No big deal. 3 good counts. Offhand goes up, hold it for 3.
Orlando Brown and a bunch of his friends counting down the days.
It's a pretty good backdrop if you got to work out. See, when we watch him throw the ball, you're going to love the way the ball comes out of his hands. It's just so easy. All 3-step, 5-step, 7-step, it just comes out so easily. Always on balance, accurate.
Are we? When are we doing all the shuttle stuff?
I'm right here and warm up. Okay.
When are we doing the shuttle stuff? You know?
After that.
Mason Rudolph. From what I've heard, he's interviewed really well. People love his knowledge of the game. As I mentioned earlier, his deep ball accuracy is just outstanding. He and James Washington he had something going. Marcel Aitman, he had a good group of receivers, a really good scheme. They get their backs up a little bit when I talk about Big 12 defenses. But you know what's interesting, Rich?
What's interesting?
3 of the top quarterbacks in this draft played against University of Texas in the Big. And I thought Texas gave all 3 of those quarterbacks one of their more difficult games. They had athletes and a completely different scheme than what quarterbacks are typically. So Baker Mayfield, Mason Rudolph, Darnold all played against Texas this year. And I would say if you're an aficionado watching quarterbacks, watch those 3 quarterbacks against Texas. I think the tape's revealing.
That USC-Texas game was fun to watch, in particular.
Yes.
Shimanek is done with his 40s. Let's see if Mike White could better the 5.08.
This is another guy that's being kind of grouped with Luke Falk and Mason Rudolph as that second level, 2nd or 3rd round guy. He also lit up the Senior Bowl, and there's a great history of quarterbacks elevating their status at the Senior Bowl, and I think he could be one of them.
Yes, sir.
8 of 11 for 128 yards and a score.
I asked Mike White, we interviewed him at the Senior Bowl, Rich. I asked him what his favorite route was, and he told me, and then I said, go through your progressions. He ripped off the progressions, like off the cuff, through every coverage in about a 20-second thing that was awesome. It was like, okay, that's what you want out of your quarterback.
Okay, so the 40s are done for the quarterback group at the 2018 Scouting Combine. Now, the second group of wide receivers will go through. And then we will hit the field, and the quarterbacks and wide receivers will have at it there. And then the tight ends take the field. We're just getting started on a Saturday. We just passed lunchtime here in Indy. All right, here's what we missed while away. Jester Weah of Pittsburgh. 4.44.
Yeah, high school track guy. Figured he'd run fast.
Karan White.
Brother of Kevin. Chicago Bears. 7th grade pick a couple years ago.
Oh. West Virginia. Then South Dakota State Jackrabbit, Jack Winicky.
Not what he was looking for.
4.68.
Another one of those big wideouts, though. Big body guys.
Patrick Wilson.
This guy's a pretty good football player.
From the blue turf to the white line here. The money line, the home Colts sideline that turns into the 40-yard dash line. A 4.56 there. Javon Wims, Georgia.
Kind of a late bloomer.
4.54 for him.
Had a good season.
Mitchell's second run. 4.59 was his first. 4.57 his next. DJ Moore moments ago from Maryland. 4.48.
Very solid. Like that from DJ Moore a lot.
And now Missouri's Jamon Moore. She said a disappointing first run, 4.60. Meaning he could star in his new ESPN feature, Jamon Man. Yeah, just leave it there, Matt.
There are 2 Missouri wide receivers in the history of the program to have 2 years at 1,000 plus. Jamon Moore and Jeremy Macklin. Very raw. Mostly big body catches at 207 pounds, but a little surprised at the 4.6.
Still has his pro day to go.
Yep. Yep, that's why you run it here. 2 bites at the apple instead of 1.
Good shot, Chase.
Byron Pringle now.
I wish Pettis had run. I was really anxious to watch him run.
We're told that's by choice.
Yep.
It's a little long.
There's Sean Payton. Kid they took in the draft out of Ohio State.
Hey.
Has been balling out.
Lattimore outstanding. How about the tackle, Ramczyk? Then in the 3rd round, they get Kamara. I mean, they had a lot of production out of their rookie class last year. They might have even had 2 or 3 3rd-round picks. I think they had 2 more after Kamara.
I was referring to Michael Thomas, the wide receiver.
Oh, the year before.
Yeah.
He's second
in terms of offensive linemen. I mean, offensive wide receivers.
No doubt. I mean,
he's been terrific. He's basically the Brandon Cooks is a New England Patriot in essence, partially due to his emergence.
He's one of those big body guys. He catches everything, and he called me out on Twitter recently. Basically said, you know, my top 5 list means nothing because I didn't have him in it. And my reaction was basically, I had you as the number 45 player in the country. I think he went 47th overall, and I know I was low on him, and so was the rest of the NFL. We all were really low and wrong on him.
That's why you got 3 tied for 5th receivers now in your top 5.
I might have like 23 at a certain point. Went up. What a great job he and his staff did. I do their preseason games, and it was really kind of fun watching that come together the last 2 years.
Well, I mean,
look at him smiling.
Why not? Ice cream for everybody. In Philadelphia these days.
They just did a
wide receiver
job.
And the wide receiver group there is deep. Everybody's catching football. I mean, Wentz sometimes, Foles obviously too.
They were able
10 different guys would catch a football in a game.
They were able to move Aguilar outside to inside. He played better. They sign Alshon Jeffrey. They sign Torrey Smith. Then they extend
You're in that real
Alshon
cadet
Jeffrey.
stance. You're leaning so far forward. I know it's hard to hold him.
Torrey Smith just won his second Super Bowl race.
Yep, Baltimore. And
no joke. Speaking of Maryland Terrapin wide receivers.
Right.
And obviously, Nelson Aguilar.
I mean,
then the tight ends and everybody.
Zach Ertz, I mean, is a glorified wideout anyway. I mean, he's just a matchup nightmare for linebackers and safeties.
Trey Burton, as we all know, he can throw it too. He can spin it.
Free agent now, I believe.
The tight end's going to be out there later today. Trey Quinn's second run.
4.57. Probably a slot. You watch him run a choice route where he's working linebackers and safeties inside out. He knows what he's doing, man.
All right, now here's Ridley again. Talented Mr. Ridley.
He had 63 catches for 967, and then I said earlier that if they had more consistent quarterback play, I think he'd have had 1,500 yards easily.
Hang on.
They missed him a couple times in the playoff games where he had won easily. I think early in the game against Georgia,
play on football, man.
was overthrown in the end zone.
You know, you're okay.
He's got an ability to win off the line of scrimmage against press coverage. He sets up DBs.
Just be calm and still, man. Have clarity.
Just has a natural ability to separate.
I don't like that stumble.
Play from 2 point. Don't worry about it.
Or 6'1" wide receiver. We could take a break. We will be back shortly. There's different methods. You put the chain in the mouth. You let it fly. I'm just not going to wear one at all.
I thought you were supposed to breathe.
All right, let's head back on the field for the Old Spice 40s. As we were gone, Corey Robertson ran his second 40.
A big production in 17, but I thought he struggled against Florida State in good press coverage.
Jaleel Scott.
Pretty good time, sub 4.6 at 218 pounds.
Traquan Smith, 4.50.
Yep, real solid.
Moments ago, Equanimous St. Brown, 4.53. Now we're live again with Cortland Sutton.
Caught a lot of passes at SMU, man. I mean, he had 68 catches. Trey Quinn had more than him.
Runs it at 4.55, it appears.
Yeah, again, a lot like an Alshon Jeffrey to me.
Well, so far, we haven't seen anybody come terribly close to a 4.3, meaning we're still looking for a wide receiver to hang on, jump the shark. Thank you so much.
All the bad shark jokes are coming.
I mean,
DJ already started. I hear you. Alton Tate, baby. 6'5", 228, long arms. Daniel Jeremiah said, ignore the clock. He ran 4.69 the first time. Durability issues, but a big red zone target. 4.74. You know, people want to compare big wideouts like Alton Tate automatically to Kelvin Benjamin or Mike Evans, and they forget that at 230 pounds, these guys are running in the 4.5s.
It's Frank Reich right next door to us.
Yep.
Or is he moved? He's not. I'm looking. It's not him next door to us. He's moved.
He's probably visiting.
Just chit chat.
Yeah.
Can they add to the mix here to T.Y. Hilton and company for presumably a healthy Andrew Luck week 1?
That's the key.
And tell you what, there's a lot of hand-wringing in this town about that very subject.
When Deshaun Watson goes down, you see what happened to Houston. When Andrew Luck goes down, you saw what happened to Indy. When Carson Wentz went down, they won a Super Bowl.
Well, there's some extenuating circumstances on the other front, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, making a point. We know that's not.
I'm sure she says I'm back. Here's James Washington. And Jacoby Brissett had a very nice year, obviously for having been acquired last minute by the Colts.
Yes.
And that's part of the fact that he is here. And James G is now out west. That's part of the reason why one assumes the Patriots are looking at these quarterbacks here to potentially find the next starting quarterback once Tom Brady finally starts showing his age.
Just keeps outlasting backup quarterback.
Please. Daniel?
James Washington, guys, for a comparison for him, I saw a little bit of Pierre Garçon in his game. Just really, really tough, and what he does after the catch is outstanding. He can get over the top with some speed, but I heard an interesting comp from somebody else that goes back a little bit further. How about Chris Chambers coming out of Wisconsin for James Washington?
Thickly muscled. I get some of that, DJ. I think he plays bigger and runs faster than when you look at him. And he had a great ability to target and finish on deep balls. I mean, I thought they did a great job in that offense at Oklahoma State on the deep ball.
4.43.
See, now there's Jester Wea has track speed. I didn't necessarily see that speed translate on the football field, though. Even though he ran 4.44 and 4.43, I didn't see that when I watched his film.
So there's Karan White, his brother Kevin. Just 3 years ago, they were watching me. Now I'm watching them. Everything they prayed for since we were kids. Good luck at the combine and through the rest of this process. It's pretty cool. White brothers.
Very, very cool, right? Great picture.
Sure is.
Yeah, but he doesn't need to be on it.
Now it's Jake Winicky of
The one thing I will say,
South Dakota State, trying to improve his previous time for sure of 4.68. He's going to get whistled though.
Hand went up real quick and he took off. Hand goes up, 3 good counts. You got it. You play.
Heavy production. South Dakota State, almost 300 catches, averaged 18 yards a catch with 59 touchdowns.
Of course, the other brother in that photo that Kevin White sent out, Kazir White.
That's right.
See him on Monday, the defensive backs. 4.72. Cedric Wilson.
Really smooth athlete.
penultimate 40 of the wide receiver group.
Penultimate, I like it.
Yes, sir.
Next to last. They threw this kid 3 to 5 vertical takeoffs every game. He's got good speed. Not great, but good speed. He has an ability to track the ball in the air, though. That's what kind of like a center fielder. Wouldn't surprise me at all if this kid played baseball. He's a natural tracker of the football with good hands.
About 60 yards away on the opposing 40 is where all the quarterbacks are meeting with Greg Knapp right now. One last word from the quarterbacks coach running the drills. And we'll see Mayfield, Rosen, Rudolph, rest of that second part of the quarterbacks group here. Get out there and spin it with these wide receivers that are just finishing up the 40-yard dashes for wide receivers at the combine.
Cedric's father, Cedric, played 7 years in the NFL. Played for Pittsburgh in a Super Bowl, I believe.
4-6 flat. Javon Wims is the last one to run a 40. Charles?
Hey guys, you're talking about Cedric Wilson, and yeah, he is an excellent tracker of the football. You see him get downfield as you described, Mike. Gets that from his dad, and you mentioned him playing in the NFL. But I thought at Senior Bowl week, Mike, he struggled getting off the line of scrimmage versus press. I thought that was a thing that he had to really work on. So he went back to his off-season training camp to work on it. You know he got most of his work against? Derwin James, who we will see at the DB drills on Monday. And don't be surprised if Derwin James does a little bit of press corner as well as safety stuff.
Yeah, I was really surprised, Charles, when I put my first Florida State tape on, really to just lock in on him. I expected a big, good-looking kid that was probably stiff in his movement skills, and I got this fluid, easy mover where you went, oh, my goodness, he's going to be a 4-4 guy and move so simply and easily. It's special.
4.59, so that'll wrap it up. That will wrap it up for wide receiver and quarterback 40s. Now they're all going to get out there on the field. Deshaun Hamilton already ran some routes. Same with Christian Kirk. The rest of the wide receiver group, though, is going to get out there, including Cortland Sutton, when we come back with Mayfield, Rosen, and company.
Yeah, a little bit more. We go, James.
All right, we're running go routes. Well, we're not, but we're seeing go routes being run and being thrown from the wide receiver and quarterback group 5 for those scoring goal. Group 5 in the combine. It's the last of the quarterbacks and wide receivers. Tight ends are going to get out there. That's Jester Weah of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, got to run through it.
Okay.
Karan White. Awkward angle, forcing you to look over your shoulder. Easy catch there.
Quarterback throwing it. That was Chase Litton. Now here's Baker Mayfield, spinning it at a scouting combine.
Good adjustment by Winicky. Didn't run as well as he'd like. Now he's got a chance to try to showcase the hands.
Here's Josh Rosen throwing to Cedric Wilson.
Every ball that this kid throws, it's just kind of, he's on balance. He's got a really nice feel for touch and accuracy. That's a beautiful football right there. Over the outside shoulder, that's exactly where you want it. Good catch by Cedric Wilson.
Mason Rudolph to Javon Wims.
He had an outstanding deep ball touch. Talking about Rudolph now, throwing the 8-man and James Washington.
Just great. That's the thing I love about combine. I mean, how much we watched Oklahoma State football, Georgia football all year long. Now here we got the quarterback throwing to their wide receiver in the combine, and there's now Rudolph's teammate. So he came so close to actually throwing to his teammate.
Right.
That's the randomness of the whole thing, obviously.
Nice adjustment by James Washington on the deep ball, which he does naturally. And again, that's twice in a row for Weah not making the adjustment.
On the hop. On the hop, on the hop, on the hop.
It's the gauntlet coming. You have the floor, Mike, on the drills.
Yeah, I go back to Amari Cooper from a couple of years ago when they had to track the ball over the shoulder. And this is the conversation we had earlier about natural hands and an ability to track a football. He doesn't look back to the last minute and then look. So easy. He doesn't even think about it, Amari Cooper. He's been doing it since he's about 6, 8 years old. Runs away against the Chargers, tracks it, easy catch. And then Ridley tracks it, keep the hands out to the last second, just naturally tracks. Yeah, come on, that's no easy. I've been doing it my whole life. Alden Tate, big body, red zone kind of guy, slowing down because the ball's underthrown, tracks it over the opposite shoulder, beautifully done.
All right, weight and reps. Let's see what we got.
There you go.
Okay. There's Ridley.
Don't bounce.
Earlier today.
Good.
Calvin Ridley, look at you, man. How many get? 15?
Yes, he did.
That's one more than Orlando Brown.
Well, everyone you're going to be seeing right now is more than Orlando Brown, the Oklahoma tackle who only put up 14.
Christian Kirk. Nice job.
20.
Get it up. Let's go. 21. Get it up. Come on.
Anthony Miller did not run. One of the receivers around that intrigues me.
What do 225 reps from wide receiver mean for you?
Just
work ethic? Getting
exactly right. Commitment to the weight room. You know, you start talking about 15, 18, 20 reps at 200 pounds. It just shows you've lived in the weight room and you've got a commitment to it.
All right, Irv, Steve Smith out there. You want to chime in on the gauntlet as you see fit, what you're seeing out there?
That's a good job. Who was that? 26 right there. He did a nice job. Is that more? Double catch, a miss.
That was Jamon Moore, yeah. Who, as we all know, had 40s that he would probably like to have improved, so that was a nice gauntlet for him. Here's Trey Quinn.
Caught the back end of one of the balls.
Nice. Those are natural receivers' hands right there. Him catching that pass.
Here's Ridley.
You want to catch the front point of the ball if you can, as opposed to the back point. And right through his hands. Ball's high, but still.
One of the things that was interesting is before the gauntlet, Coach Knapp had been coaching up several guys to throw that go route outside shoulder. Only one guy got it correct. It was Josh.
Really?
Rosen, and I think that was important. Coach Knapp just kept correcting him. Hey, outside shoulder, outside shoulder. He was the only guy that got it.
Trying to get him to adjust, right?
Yep.
Jaleel Scout, look the ball in, man.
It's interesting, too. I mean, while we're on the subject a little bit of Rosen, the concept that he's not open to being coached and where that may come from.
Where did he start that stuff?
Well, look, from what I have been told and heard, it came from when he was 16, 17 years old. That he's somebody that's had 3 offensive coordinators in college, and that it is a bad rap that is unfair.
Well,
everything that you hear about Josh Rosen now.
Well, if a guy's had 3 offense coordinators and the team isn't winning, I'm not sure that goes on the quarterback. How about the system in which they have isn't working very well, and then you have the head coach who isn't there anymore.
I just don't like that we so quickly give these kids red flags for anything. I mean, any little thing, you know. They are kids, and I know it's a great game of football, but it's a lot. We put a lot on these kids. We're ready to give them red flags, and I just don't think that's right.
And Irv, I'll give you the flip side to that. Even though I've never met Josh Rosen, I don't even have an opinion on him other than what I've watched tape. If you've noticed, I haven't said a word about the kid because I don't know the kid. What I would tell you, if you're thinking about investing the number 1 or 2 or 6 overall pick and a first-round pick, and you're going to commit $30, $40 million to this kid as the face of your franchise, it's more the media that's painting these brushes from things we quote, we hear, and what the teams are trying to do is get to the bottom of it. You know, and bottom line, is Josh Rosen going to be the face of our franchise? If we pay him $30 million, is that our guy? And I think it's okay to do your homework with the amount of the investment you're putting in.
It's imperative to do your homework. But Mike, what you said is absolutely true. But who's writing the things that they write? And no matter what, and my bishop talked about this in church a couple of weeks ago, other people's opinion does put you in a sort of a prison, because now everybody looks at you with that opinion that somebody has put on you before they even get a chance to know you or meet you. You have to do your homework to find out about these guys. That's no doubt about that. But I'm just some of these people that are writing aren't doing all of their homework. They're just writing something they heard instead of going to really find out about the kid, and we throw red flags on them.
I mean, you got to also understand, these are college kids. And I know for myself, maybe I'm alone, if they replay my college life, some of the things you did in your privacy of being a college kid and making mistakes, we all would be red flags.
Well, we ain't even got to go back to college for me, so I'm going to let that go.
Yeah, we got to go to break, or we don't have enough time, brother.
Back to you, Rich. Back to you, Rich. Back to you, Rich.
That's the first time I ever heard him say back to you.
Well, no, he knows that's the safe word on NFL Network Live television.
Pineapples.
No. Coach, say it, Irv. Say it.
Back to you, Rich.
Thank you, Michael Irvin. Oh, boy. The LSU Nation in the NFL very proud of DJ Chark. Tyrann Mathieu, he's chiming in. Yeah, he had a 4.34. Tre'Davious White. All right, so let's take a look at Saquon Barkley, Calvin Ridley, and DJ Chark going to break. DJ Chark, who had the highest vertical jump of all wideouts, too. So as you could see, so far, it is indeed Chark Week here in Indy. Moments ago, Josh Rosen telling Josh Allen, you're not the only Josh with a deep ball ability here. Finds Ridley in stride about 60 yards down the field.
He's a natural thrower. He really is. He's always on balance. And a couple of scouts said to me the balance might be because of the tennis. He was a really good tennis player earlier, and you know how you finish up with a ground stroke or something, you're always on balance, and he certainly looks that way.
He said he gave up tennis because he said it was a lonely sport, that the people that you were playing against just wanted to beat you all the time one-on-one. He likes the fact that your teammates are around you. That's what he said. Now, Drew Brees had a history in tennis as well. I mean, I know we're going to talk about the basketball comp a lot more shortly with the tight ends coming out.
Right.
Here's Logan Woodside of Toledo.
Good ball. That ball's got to be caught right there. I'm telling you, there's a little something to this Woodside.
Good try, Jake. Good try, Jake.
You're seeing all this. The verts are in for the tight ends. Mike Gesicki of Penn State with a 41.5. That's a half an inch less than Vernon Davis, who's, kind of the measuring stick in a way.
Tyler Conklin from Central Michigan went 38 inches, and he went to college to play basketball. So there's a couple of, we're talking about guys who are high-level basketball players who became tight ends and highly athletic.
Here's Kyle Laletta of Richmond. Deep ball here.
Get it.
Some of these guys, you can tell they're gonna max out around 48 yards. So they gotta get it up early, especially with these guys running 4.4.
Nice grab.
Throw and
Jackrabbit.
Yep.
Good throw and catch. Now Tanner Lee is a guy that's always had natural kind of arm strength, arm talent.
Yeah, you can see that clearly. It's pretty effortless for him.
What he struggled with is kind of turnovers and interceptions and bad decisions at bad times.
Slow down. Very good.
Because you can tell physically he can match up with any of these guys.
Yep.
Is this Ridley again? Or if you're impressed?
Man, I love this kid, man. I'm telling you. Can you imagine if somebody like Chicago got this kid, put him with Trubisky, and I'm telling you, I don't think when you're talking about wide receiver, you say you take him with that 8th pick they got, man. It's just some happy people in Chicago because they need some receivers.
Good try.
They do.
Give me a good 5 inch. Just look a little early. Wait to find it.
I'm gonna tell you something too. This kid right here, Washington kid, I like him too. I mean, he's heavy, built solid down low, but really doing well out of catching the ball and running. Really like that kid.
He's built like a running back,
yes,
and he tracks the deep ball extremely well. And he came away, even though he's only about 6'1" or whatever, he tracks the deep ball and competes for that 50-50 ball way more than guys his side typically do.
Fighter.
Yep.
All right, let's see what Mayfield's got on the deep ball here.
Finish.
Go to the right side, receivers. Go to the right side.
I'm going to switch sides. I'm going to stay here. And
He's going to be up first.
looks like Josh Rosen's been handed the ball first.
Receivers are flipping.
You notice Cleveland Browns, look to the left there. Cleveland Brown emblem to the left. There we go. Kenny Zampese, who's the new Cleveland Browns quarterback coach. So if they draft a quarterback at 1 or 4, Kenny's in charge.
Well, I mean, look, I know you say the word if. How do they not? The only way is, I guess, that they hit the jackpot in free agency.
Yeah. I told you the other day, if they sign a free agent quarterback that they're happy with, and then they go in at 1 and 4 with Barkley and Quentin Nelson, they already compete well defensively. Their defense is already a level in Cleveland where they can compete. They change things on offense, man. It could be kind of fun on the lake.
Josh Gordon too, right?
Hey, open me back up.
You're open. You're open, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I found out that the wide receivers are breaking down on the dig routes because the wide receiver coach from the Miami Dolphins is telling them to break down.
Yep.
Other than Landry, I don't see them Dolphin receivers making too many plays.
Oh, Kenny Stills now, right?
Kenny, I like Kenny, but Kenny learned from Sean Payton. Just tell him. Can't break down on a dig route. You got to Cadillac turn that thing, keep it moving. What, Rich? Hey, that's what the wide receivers. That's what you're supposed to do. Keep going.
No. I know you're just spitting the truth. I understand.
Hey, man, Mike, Kenny Zampese over there looking just like his dad Ernie. Many a days I've been in that huddle.
I know you have.
He's chewing that gum just like he's chewing it, calling those plays.
He learned from his dad, didn't he?
Just like his dad. Just like Ernie.
Mason Rudolph, get the ball out now.
All right, now here's Ridley.
And here's Calvin Ridley. Here's a good group right here. Let's see if Rudolph gets the ball out. It's a speed break. Get the ball out. Don't make him wait for it. Get the ball out.
Ball's got to be out of your hand before they turn around.
Yep. And this kid here, man, really, you saw he runs that 3 route so hard. Now I'll get this kid and talk to him about how you can still run and use your arms and not so much of your legs in that 3 route right here, because you're only getting 12 yards and you're going to roll right out of it. Little things like that will put him over the top and in a Pro Bowl in his first year.
He's so fast and fast twitch, you can see. He runs like a gazelle. It's unbelievable. He's a guy that he can run any route the same pace and give you 10 different routes.
You guys are going to get Bears fans all in a huff talking about him like that, sitting there at 8.
This kid will throw it with some anticipation, I think. He was late that time, but good ball.
Yeah, he has been. He has been a little bit earlier than most guys on these routes. I was a little late, but the ball comes out of his hand nice.
The Trubisky-Ridley connection.
There it is. Get out there, get in front of you. Yeah, get it in front.
Steve and I have been different on this Cortland Sutton guy, this big kid here from SMU, man. And I was over at SMU the other day talking to the coaches about him, and I like that big body.
How you just gonna throw me out there like that?
Well, I just said we differ on him because I like his big body.
I didn't say I didn't like him. I just said I thought differently of him based on your opinion.
Okay. Hey, I like big bodies, man, that you can use. Like Mike, you talked about it. There's all kinds of separation when you get a big body. I may not be able to run away, but I can always separate because my body gives me the opportunity to play basketball on the football field.
Weak side rebounder.
So what you're saying is you lack the speed and the technique, so you're just going to muscle your way through it?
Well,
whatever it takes.
So sometimes I can work that route. Sometimes I can work, especially nowadays with the passing game being what it is and the defensive rules, and they can't touch you. Absolutely, I can use a big body in many ways.
So you only have a minor in route running instead of like me, a PhD. Dr. Smith.
Well, no, I have a PhD in route running, and I have the big body. That's what made it so dangerous.
Oh, boy.
I agree, Mike. You're fantastic. How about that one, Rich?
Rich, what's that? What's that, Rich? Oh,
no, I just
back to you, Rich.
Yeah, thank you. You two guys down there.
Hey, only thing, Mike's over here. Mike is hallucinating because he has on his red medium shirt again.
Yes, he does.
It gets smaller every year, doesn't it?
All the muscles get bigger, one of the two, so it's okay. Same thing.
It's hard to tell with the shirt. When you finish it, give it back to my son.
There's Lee from Nebraska.
Hey, y'all look funny.
That's a good ball right there.
That was a great ball. That was a great ball.
That is a good ball.
Yeah, some hot sauce on it, too.
And if you don't make that turn right on the cut, that ball gets up on you so fast, that's what you get. You get a drop.
Tanner Lee's a natural thrower, and again, I just go back to he's a transfer, went to Nebraska, threw a lot of interceptions, got an opportunity to go to the Senior Bowl. You could see the natural arm strength. He's got to be a better decision maker.
Well, you're right, because you can see that arm. I mean, that ball jumps out there.
Tanner's one of those guys when you throw it, it whistles.
Yep.
You can hear the laces breaking through the air.
Trey Quinn has done a really good job. He's run some great routes, and he's caught some great passes.
All right, now it's Baker's turn.
All right, Baker Mayfield. Let's see it here. Quick drop and ball out early, Baker. Out. A little sauce on it, right, guys?
Yeah, he's got some juice on it.
That was a little sauce on it.
Good placement, too. I mean, I'll take the sideline over inside.
6'2", you're supposed to get that one, Mike.
Yeah. But
6'2".
his route, and then top of that route, he was off with his feet placement, and that's why he dropped the ball. Sutton did, but I like that big body. Here's Washington.
Little guy.
Yeah. Watch him. You see how he steps in, just like that big guy that got around.
He's a guy. James is a guy. He's a little stiff. You know, he's a bowling ball type body, but he's a little stiff. He gets with a good coach that'll help him out a little bit. But yeah, he can run any route on the route tree. I think he's going to be pretty good.
The official 40 times.
I like it.
4 quarterbacks. Quentin Flowers, 4.63. J.T. Barrett, 4.7 flat. Josh Allen, 4.75. That's your gold, silver, and bronze. Josh Rosen, spinning on Shabbos. Baker Mayfield, you're a Heisman Trophy winner. He's out there, too. Welcome back to Indianapolis, Indiana. So the tight ends are about to get out there. Now, I don't recall how often we go live into the weight and reps room. We hardly ever do that, right?
We used to, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great, yeah.
To be honest,
it's been a while, but we're about to. The reason why is there's a particular linebacker who's about to do the reps of 225. His name is Shaquem Griffin.
Yep.
If you don't know who he is, you might have heard of his brother, Shaquille, or a.k.a. Shaq Griffin, who's
was born 1 minute ahead of him.
Right. He's in the Seattle Seahawks right now.
Third round pick a year, going to starting corner by the end of the year.
But Shaquem stuck behind at Central Florida, part of the undefeated team there. He was born without he was born a minute after his brother and suffered from amniotic band syndrome. Basically, some amniotic fluid wrapped around his left hand while in the womb. And he was born essentially without a hand. 4 years into his life, at age 4, his left, the top of his left arm was amputated. You could see the photograph right there. He's about to go into the weight and reps room and lift. And as you could see, he's no slouch on the field. Defensive player of the year for the AAC.
The first tape I put in on him, I'm like, who is 18? I didn't even know anything about his hand. I'm talking about a football player.
Right.
He flies to the ball. He plays on the ball as an edge guy. He plays off the ball as a linebacker. And the one constant is no matter where the football is, 18 will show up shortly. He's got a great motor. He can rush the quarterback. I think the NFL is going to look at him a little bit like Hassan Reddick. He's going to play off the ball linebacker, plus you can use him as an edge. I've even heard a couple teams are talking about looking at him as a safety, which is kind of interesting. So,
all right, let's go in the weight and reps room right now. There he is.
See the prosthetic he uses on his left hand.
I need all you got. 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 Oh. Let's get it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Go to work. Go to work. Lock out. Go down. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Good shot. Wait, lock it out. All the way up. All the way up. Lock out right arm out. Let's go. Good. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Come on. Get it up. Let's go. Get it up. Let's go. Lock it out. There it is. Good. 15. Yes. Come on, work it. Come on. Come on. 7. Good. Let's go. 8. Come on with it. Good. Come on with it. Come on with it. Bring it up here. Bring it up here. 20. Lock out. There you go. Come on. Come on. I got you. I got you. Lock it out. 20 reps. 2-0.
Listen to that room.
There's always energy in that room.
But not quite like that, right?
But when a kid like that steps up, that has the respect that he does of his peers, and trust me, we had him at the Senior Bowl, and he had everybody flying around with him. He's an energy giver. He gets the room full of energy, and that was really cool to see. I love that.
And as inspirational as they come. Good family, good kids. And again, his brother played a prominent role in Seattle this past year.
I'll be honest, my comp for him is Quan Alexander, who's a heck of a football player, who's a little bit over 6 feet, about 227 is what Quan Alexander is. This young man was 223 at the Senior Bowl. So please understand, folks, there's no gimmicks here. This is an outstanding football player, and I even went in critically on tape to see if that left hand made an issue, and there are times where you want to see him grab and disengage from a big tackle or grab and tackle with, and every once in a while it might be an issue, but I'm telling you, the kid has made up for it. You ought to see him use the left hand to pop the football out. He's unbelievable. He's got 2 career interceptions, which is more than a lot of linebackers.
Yeah.
I mean, trust me, this kid is the real deal, and I am inspired by him.
It's like I said, it's an incredible story about his family and his brother. There's a great story on it by Chase Goodbread on NFL.com that I would highly suggest everybody go read. Inspirational, it's a tearjerker, it's all that. And as you can see, that kid's a winner. He's a winner.
20 reps.
He hasn't lost a football game in over a year.
That whole Central Florida program was really fun, and go undefeated and beat Auburn in your bowl game. You have a right to say that you share a national title, in my opinion.
And the defense as a whole will stop resting as of tomorrow. Obviously, they haven't been resting. They've been, as you could see, in the weight and reps room and done all the testing. Kim, take it away.
Absolutely ridiculous here, Rich, as I stand beside Shaquem Griffin, who just put up 20 reps in the bench press. You told me you were going to surprise some people. Did you surprise yourself?
Oh, definitely. I mean, just starting that off, I just felt the energy from everybody. I mean, my adrenaline was going through the roof, and I ain't feel like I needed to stop. So 20. Soon I heard 16. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going for 20. And I just changed my whole facial expression. Like I got to grind this out, and it felt amazing to reach that goal.
And you were doing those reps with a prosthetic left hand,
yes,
that you use for things like bench press, but you don't use to play football. So how does that hand feel when you're doing something like a bench at 225 pounds?
I mean, it's amazing because obviously a lot of people didn't think I was going to be able to do the bench press, and for me to be able to put that prosthetic on, I mean, I remember when I first started doing using the prosthetic, I had just the bar, I was shaking all over the place when I first got the UCF, and now being able to put up numbers like that, obviously with good competition with everybody, I mean, it's amazing because it just goes to show how much hard work I put in to get to this level.
Shaquem, I told you earlier in the week, there's a GM who loves your story and loves you as a player, and he said to me candidly, I don't care if he does 5 bench press reps, but when I told you that, you were almost ticked off a little bit.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean, because like I said before, people didn't think I'd be able to do it, and him just saying 5, I mean, 5 and me just warming up, so I mean, it feels good to throw up 20 and show them that, I can do way more than 5.
I can't keep you forever here, although I'd love to. You'll be working out tomorrow with the linebackers, and then you'll do some DB drills afterwards, correct?
Yes.
tell me what well, we're going to find out tomorrow what you're going to do. I got to send it back. Tomorrow we're going to look at you a whole lot on the field, Shaquem. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Shaquem Griffin, Rich.
Yeah,
so you
great
can
job.
see why I love him, right? I mean, it's just unbelievable.
Well, it's contagious. Kyle Long just tweeted out, this kid's incredible.
He is. Oh, that's... I get kind of fired up watching that. I really do.
We all do. We all do. And maybe there's some kids out there who have the same situation as Shaquem Griffin. And they look and see what this kid just did at a scouting combine and saying, why not me?
I mean, in his mind, he's like everybody else, and he gets upset when you don't think it that way. He was a high school track guy, 4x100, the discus, triple jump. I mean, God bless him.
Great stuff. He's going to go out and he's going to shine out tomorrow. Part of the linebacker group and defensive line group that will be on the field tomorrow. We still have the tight ends here on the field in Indianapolis today. Still lots more to come from Indianapolis.
Such a fast player, so instinctful. Now being chased, and now he'll be dropped. Who else? Shaquem Griffin.
The reigning defensive player of the year from this conference.
Relentless effort by Shaquem Griffin.
And who's to say this guy can't play in the NFL too?
Back in Indianapolis in Lucas Oil, all the quarterbacks and running backs and wide receivers and offensive linemen have come and gone. The tight ends remain. And year after year after year, the tight ends get bigger, stronger, faster, just like the D linemen and linebackers we're going to see tomorrow. But before we turn the page in that direction, let's hit upon one more time some of the quarterbacks we just saw leave the field, and Josh Rosen starting us off.
Yeah, let's button this up. I mean, we talked about easy heat, and I think as the day went on, Josh Rosen got better. And play action. His footwork and ability to finish on balance. He feels a little pressure, steps up into the pocket, throws the deep route in between the corner and the safety. His accuracy at all three levels is outstanding. Again, underneath the center, play action, NFL style. Vision. Sees the safety, looks him off, and he's going to come backside to the post route, and it's beautifully thrown. He can manipulate people with his eyes. Now, the durability is an issue. He's taken a lot of hits. He's been hurt, but he can throw the football, folks. Now, my comparison is Bradford, because I think they're two of the most natural throwers I've ever seen. They both have an inability to escape from the pocket, which leads to durability concerns. You saw what happened to Sam Bradford in his career. I'm very concerned that that's what's going to happen with Josh Rosen in his. Now, Baker Mayfield, man, he's got a bigger arm than I thought when I first started watching his film. And I was highly impressed by the combination of arm strength and watch, a little pump fake to move the linebacker, and then he throws a wide open wide receiver. He throws him open. Shotgun, play action. Again, pump fake, buy some time. Now look at him. Wide receiver uncovers in the end zone, throw him open at the back of the end zone. He's an instinctive kid. And when they want to run the football, forget the fact that he ran 4.85 or whatever. He's a competitive, tough kid, very quick, will run the football. Here we go again. There's the vision. Where's that safety? This is the only issue I have with him, is sometimes he stares down his primary route, and that led to some interceptions, especially in the red zone where things happen quickly.
And, we've got more time later on to discuss what might be the interview room conversation involving those guys. We'll hit that, but we have tight ends picking them up and putting them down right now on the 40-yard dash, brought to you by our friends at Old Spice. This was happening moments ago. The tight end that Baker Mayfield knows very well, Mark Andrews.
Yeah, and keep in mind, he's 256, folks.
Ooh, 4.59.
That's flying for that size. That's faster than a lot of wideouts today.
That's true.
At 256.
Marcus Baugh from The Ohio State University. Let's see what he did, 4.84. Let's move on to Tyler Conklin now.
Conklin went to college to play basketball, and you can see it. I mean, this kid's a natural athlete. He's 254 pounds. I don't know if he needs to be that heavy, but he ran 4.8, about average for an NFL tight end. This is the best pass blocker in the draft at tight. I've got him at number 5, and the reason I have him there, he's 262 pounds. He's the best blocking tight end in the entire draft, and he won't hurt you in the pass game. He's a good football player.
And here's Mike Gesicki, who had some of the best vert and broads in the history of tight ends at the combine.
Moving a little bit.
4.55.
Whoa, folks. Alert, because he's going to run and jump. Hayden Hurst, baseball player, 25 years old, 4'6'9". He blocks in addition to catching the football.
There's Ryan, Hayden Hurst there. And now Ryan Izzo.
Another good blocking tight end. Wasn't used too much in the pass game. And yeah, I was going to say he'll just sneak under 5 flat probably.
All right, now we've caught up to speed, if you will. Jalen Samuels, NC State tight end.
What a great conversation this kid is. He was a wildcat, a running back, a fullback, an H-back. He did everything for these guys. Because of his size, he's only 5'11 and a half, 225, yet he's running with the tight ends. The question is, what is he and how do you use him? And I think the more important thing is he doesn't have a label. You know, you look at a Jordan Reed. Jordan Reed was 6'2", 236, about 9-10 pounds heavier. 4.64 is a solid time. Jordan Reed had 4.72. I think he's going to need a team that buys into him as kind of a combination fullback, move, H-back. But he did everything for North Carolina State. Dalton Schultz from Stanford. Another good blocker, highly recruited kid. Stanford has a history of tight ends.
They do, don't they? As the Super Bowl just showed.
Zach Ertz, Cody Fleener, Levine Toilolo, Austin Hooper, a bunch of them.
Back with the tight end group and Greg Olsen, our tight end on the field for the network when we come back. Okay, the simulcam presented by Old Spice. Let's check out Mike Gesicki with Cooper Kupp and Antonio Brown. And look whose business boomed here.
Look at the length of his strides.
Gesicki.
Wow.
Now, Greg ran too long ago in the RCA Dome, so we cannot combine. But
there we go.
We do have his gauntlet from that combine.
Looks like he's like 11 years old.
There we go.
It's awesome.
It's like the Benjamin Button of tight ends.
If I would have shaved, I feel like I'd look the same.
Look at that. Nice grab.
Let's work out these days.
Look at him. He got in the 3-point.
There you go.
TE10.
You know he did that. Combo tight end, man. That's awesome.
TE10.
So the glory days right there, 12 years ago, fellas.
Number one in your heart now.
I look older. I just saw myself in this little TV here.
Now, you, if we had the ability, because we can't simulcam from RCA Dome to Lucas Oil because our camera angles were different, okay?
Right.
But you ran a 4.55 yourself in your combine.
What was his weight? What was your weight?
I think I was 253, 254.
Boy, that's good, man.
Yeah.
So take that, Gesicki.
That's right.
Hey,
12 years ago.
And be honest with you, I mean, Greg blocked at Miami.
Tried.
They don't ask Gesicki to do a whole lot other than catch football.
Yeah, college football has changed a little bit in 10 years. You know, the spread is everywhere. You know, gun. You saw the quarterbacks in the wide receiver group right before the tight ends went. You know, Mayfield and these guys are great throwers. It looks like they've never taken a drop. You know, you can tell they're learning. That's not overly natural for them. Same kind of transition for the tight ends here. You know, getting in a 3-point stance, understanding space, understanding what it's like to be in the middle of the field versus flexed out. You know, those are all things that they'll learn.
Yeah, they're not used to coverages that they're going to see in the NFL either. I mean, I guess all these guys are in the slot lined up against quarter safeties, and that's all they see.
Exactly. This is my favorite drill to watch. I think you can learn the most about guys. Movement skills, tracking, body control, focus. You really have it all mixed into one drill. You can learn a lot about a guy here.
I'm with you. A lot of people don't like it, but you can tell immediately if a guy has natural hands or not. He feels confident enough to stay on the line and not drift when he's catching the ball. I mean, there's an awful lot there.
I like it. It's easy. you can get a lot of different perspective on a lot of different assets that play in the position.
Yep. Ball's on top of you right away. Don't let it into your body. Accelerate all the way through.
That's a big point there, Mike. The accelerating through the catch. You see a lot of guys who don't really trust their hands, and they want to make sure they time where the ball hits their body. They don't want it too far in front, too far behind. You see them start kind of gearing down and throwing the brakes. The good guys who don't care where the ball is thrown are they're sprinting through, and they'll just let their hands react accordingly.
Right. So here's Calvin Ridley from earlier today.
Look at that.
And it's a succession of still frames. Look at what he did all the way across. On the line the entire time. That's confidence in your hands, concentration on the next ball, not worrying about anything except running fast and catching the football. And then when he catches the ball and gets north and south, it's as pretty as anybody in college football.
Oh, Irv loved everything about him. Everything that he saw about him, saying that the one thing he needs to work on is slowing his speed down.
Yeah, I had that issue too,
right?
Rich. Yeah.
To make sure that he's so fast, he needs to play fast and smart. Mark Andrews with a nice gauntlet there.
I have to take another look at this Andrews kid because I think I have him 4th on my tight end list. At 256, he ran fast. I struggled with him just because he's never in line. He never blocks, but I guess that's, like Greg was saying, that's kind of what we're getting today.
Rich, I like that point you said, Michael. Urban was talking about Calvin Ridley slowing down, a little play speed. It's funny, when I was a rookie, I had an older vet tight end pull me aside one time. I thought you had to do everything 100 miles an hour, every route 100 miles an hour, and I'll never forget, it's lasted my whole career in my mind. He said, hey, sometimes you got to slow down to go fast.
Right.
And that was just a little nugget that has stuck with me my whole career, and it's so true.
Tyler Conklin went to college to play hoops, transferred, very athletic. This is Disley, the blocking tight end that I talked about. But the past game I saw with him, he's not going to embarrass himself.
He's doing a nice job here.
Yeah. I stuck him in the top 5 just because I wanted people to understand that we've got at least one tight end out there that can block in the 3-point stance, and it's rare, and teams are looking for that guy.
Here's Gesicki here.
Double catch. He's going slow. Come on, Mike. You know what I mean, Greg?
Yeah.
He was measured the whole way across. Yeah.
He's a strider. Yep. Some guys just have that play style. You don't realize just how fast they're moving. You don't realize how sudden they are just because of their stride length, just kind of their body language. That's a lot. That's just natural to certain guys, and there's no way around it. That was pretty good there.
Yeah,
Hurst did a nice job there.
Yeah, natural hands.
I like Hurst. I think from ability to move, from the ability to run, but also a body type that you can imagine putting his hand on the ground and mixing it up with big D ends. You can just tell those kind of guys how they're built, and he seems like a good combination of those two things, and then of course played at a high level for an SEC team, which always kind of helps in that evaluation process.
It's interesting because they trust him on counter, wham types of plays where you're going to block defensive ends, defensive tackles, linebackers, and they trust him at the point of attack in the SEC. So,
which is saying something.
It's saying a lot. Yeah, we're okay putting you on a wham block against a defensive tackle or a lead on a counter. There aren't a whole lot of those guys in college football, and the fact that he's an athlete and can catch the football and run just accentuates it.
Roll. He's got to pick it up and go.
Yep.
He's taking a lot of short strides, kind of measuring where the ball's coming. Just let it rip. Just run.
And Thomas.
I'm with you, Mike. I like this kid.
Yeah.
Go. He's running. Missed the ball.
Yeah,
quarterback was late. We'll just blame the quarterback.
Yeah, and he made the one-hand jab on the end of it. That's all right.
Just blame the quarterback.
He's smiling. I like the fact that he's smiling. It was no problem.
Yeah, that was good.
All right, Jordan Thomas. Let's see what you have.
It's a big target.
Played some wide out.
That catch radius is about 8 feet.
You got 11-inch hands, man.
Golly. He caught one nicely behind him on that gauntlet.
Here we go. Let's start.
What happened?
Let's go. Run. Come on, man.
So after Ian Thomas had a quarterback late with the football, the next one was way behind them. You know what? No problem. Scoop it in. Big smile. Let's go. Yeah, man.
All right, time for a break. But again, I'm going to read this with more drama and impending doom. What happens when the U.S. Treasury is robbed during a Category 5 hurricane? Here's a sneak peek at the hurricane heist in theaters March 9th.
All right, day 2 of the NFL Scouting Combine now in the books. Charles Davis, Daniel Jeremiah. What were your impressions of day 2? Let's start with the tight ends who finished up the day.
Hey, look at this tight end group. I don't think it's the deepest group that we've seen, but a couple guys that jumped out today. Penn State's Mike Gesicki with the testing. When you watch him run and jump, he was clearly the best in show. And then as we transitioned to the field workout, I thought Hayden Hurst from South Carolina was head and shoulders above everybody here. Route running, tracking the ball, attacking the ball, finishing. He had a big day.
Yeah, South Dakota State's Dallas Goedert did get to work out on the field, but make sure you keep him in mind. He's a heck of a player. How about the quarterbacks?
Yeah, the quarterbacks, I thought we had kind of that big 5. Sam Darnold did not throw, so you've got the other 4. Josh Allen was outstanding, showed off that big arm today. Baker Mayfield, I thought, was the second most impressive player here. Anticipation, accuracy. Solid day for Josh Rosen, and I thought Lamar Jackson, a little bit up and down, but he shows he's got the potential to do everything you need to do to be special at that position.
Yeah, he was under the most scrutiny by far. But what do you think about tomorrow as we take a look as the defense takes the field?
Yeah, we're going to see some pass rushers. You're going to see Marcus Davenport from UT San Antonio, Bradley Chubb from NC State, and some very athletic linebackers.
Yeah, so make sure you come back and check it out. Day 3, the big fellas take the field. Daniel just mentioned those pass rushers. We got some big linebackers, too, coming out there. Tremaine Edmonds is an absolute monster from Virginia Tech. And we'll have some little guys, so to speak. Roquan Smith from Georgia headlining those linebackers.